and thanks everyone for having me here. Uh, Today I'll be talking about how to land a job as a machine learning engineer out of college. So first off, who am I and why should you even listen to me? So I'm Sid. I'm originally from South Brunswick, New Jersey. I went to South Brunswick High School.
Oh, let's go.
There are other people from South Brunswick.
Like half the room.
Yeah, people from South Brunswick doing big things now. So I graduated from Rutgers in 2021, about 2 years ago. I majored in CS and minored in math. And after graduating from college, I worked as a data scientist at a company called LabCorp for a little bit. But for the past year and a half, I've been working at a tech startup called fitmatch.ai, and I'm currently based out of Miami, Florida. So a little bit more about what I do in my job. So my company fitmatch.ai develops machine learning algorithms that take a person's body imaging from the LiDAR sensor on their phone. LiDAR sensor is basically a special sensor in iPhone 12 and up that can retrieve a three-dimensional image rather than just a flat screen. And basically, the purpose of these machine learning algorithms is they're used to power augmented reality technology for virtual try-ons. So I'll play this little video just to get a better idea of how these machine learning algorithms work.
I don't think anyone can hear on our end.
It's okay, there's no volume in this video anyways, it's just some music. All right, that's about it. So this technology uses training data from thousands of different human body shapes and uses that to predict the person's clothing size for various different brands. And this technology is currently being sold to many different clothing retailers in the US as white label. And for those of you who might not know what white label technology is, it's basically where a tech company sells other companies the tech they've developed, but they give that company the right to brand them with their own technology, which is why you probably may not have heard of this company, because we sell our technology and allow the clothing companies to put their own branding on it and advertise it as their own technology. So moving on to the next slide. So maybe some of you are in different years of college. Maybe some of you are sure that you want to become a machine learning engineer, or maybe some of you are still just thinking about it. So I'll share why I think it's a great opportunity right now. So first off, you get to work with cutting edge technology. Right now, especially, the demand for machine learning jobs is skyrocketing. So this graph that I've shown on the right, it's basically showing a bunch of different job titles and the percent growth in the number of job postings per year. So out of all of these, the leftmost column is machine learning engineer, and that's a 340% gain per year. That means every single year, the number of machine learning jobs is almost multiplying by 4, which is a pretty crazy amount. So the demand is being multiplied by 4 almost every year, but the supply of people who can take these machine learning jobs is not going up by the same rate. So because of that, that's basically creating a job market right now where it's a skill that's in very high demand, but there's a low supply of skilled people who can actually do it. And anytime you have a job where there's a higher demand than there is supply, that means there's a lot of money in there, because companies are willing to pay a lot for people that can take these high skill jobs. So out of all the times in the history of tech, I think right now is probably one of the best times to be getting into machine learning. And a big reason for that is because of OpenAI and ChatGPT. So how many of you have heard of ChatGPT? Raise your hand. Everyone better raise their hand, because if you aren't, then are you living under a rock? But because of ChatGPT, that's basically made the whole world aware of machine learning and AI and how it's so useful. And just because ChatGPT has become so popular, that's increasing the demand for machine learning jobs even more. And just like a little side note, I'm curious, like, do any of you use ChatGPT for your schoolwork? Are you allowed to? You do in the back? Does anyone want to like share how they're using it, or if they're allowed to use it for school? Yeah, in the back.
I just paste my homework on the website.
Here, sorry, I can't really hear. You think you could come up, or
Or just say louder.
Okay,
Speak with your chest.
So basically, I take my homework, I paste it into ChatGPT, and it gives me an answer. I don't know what it's
that's good. That's good. Honestly, I wish I had ChatGPT when I was in college, because then I wouldn't have to write those like stupid expose essays. So moving on to the next slide. So what skills should you start working on if you want to land one of these ML jobs? So this chart on the right is showing of all the machine learning job postings, what skills were the most highly requested. Definitely number one is Python. You need to know Python for any machine learning job. It's just like the bread and butter programming language for all machine learning models. After that, I'd say SQL or R is not necessary, but it'll definitely give you a boost against other applicants. Other than that, a big data tool such as Apache Spark or Hadoop. Just pick any one and try to understand it from a high level.
Hold on, 1 second, Sid. Do people know what big data tools are? Do you want to explain it for us real quick?
Sure, sir. Let me see if I can pull up like a visual or something. So essentially, when any company is trying to build out their machine learning infrastructure, they need a technology that can actually manage these like mass amounts of data, because we're not talking about like a spreadsheet with like 100 entries. You have like millions and millions of data points, and you can't just store that in like an Excel sheet or like Google Drive or whatever. You need like a technology that it's able to process and store this mass amounts of data. And that's what a big data tool is. I wouldn't really say there's one specific one that you need to know, but I would just say like understand from a high level what a big data tool does and try at least one. And next on the list, cloud technology. I would say that's also a must-have in today's world. Almost every company is using some form of cloud technology, whether that's like AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform. And other than that, the rest of the items on this list, I would say, are not necessary to get a machine learning job, but knowing them will definitely boost your chances. All right, moving on to the next slide. So what are some things that you guys can do right now to boost your chances? Number one, I would definitely say project experience is the most important thing you can do. And there's a couple different places where you can gain that project experience. One thing you can do is take classes at school that are related to ML. The other thing is Kaggle. Have you guys ever heard of Kaggle? Raise your hand if you have. Some people. So for those who don't know what Kaggle is, it's basically a website where different companies or people just post machine learning like challenges for anyone can do. And basically anyone can join them. And some of them even have like pretty big cash prizes, like $10,000 plus if you're able to develop like the most accurate machine learning model. So there's like a ton of different example projects on that site. I would definitely like recommend everyone to check it out and make an account on Kaggle. It's completely free. And if you win one of those like machine learning competitions, you can even take home like a nice amount of money as well. So do projects from your classes or from the internet or internships, wherever you get that opportunity, and you want to build a portfolio out of them and post about it everywhere on your GitHub, on your LinkedIn account, and on your resume. You want to make sure that you're bragging about the projects you've done as much as possible. The second tip that I'd say for everyone to do is take advantage of networking. So you want to find people who are already machine learning engineers or already working at the companies that you want to work at. And you want to ask them what they did to get there and basically just copy what they did. So when I was in college and I was trying to like land my first position, I would basically go on LinkedIn. I would just search up who were like machine learning engineers at all the top companies. I would just add everyone and then I would message them saying like, hey, I'm Sid. I want to like learn about your background and what you did to get there. And almost like most people are pretty receptive to giving out advice. So definitely like take advantage of social media and LinkedIn to expand your network and get in touch with people who are more successful than you and learn what they did to get there. And then once you do connect with these people, you want to build good relationships with them. And then once you do build that relationship with them, you can eventually ask for a referral even to their company. And then the third point I'd like to say of how you can stand out among everyone is just how hard you work, your work ethic. So it's not like a one-day thing. You got to be applying every day to new positions. You got to be building your skills every day. You can do this by reading books, taking certifications, or networking, talking to mentors. Even for me right now, though I have a job, I'm still working on building my skills every day. I'm taking new certifications. Like right now, I'm taking one in NLP because that's something I want to build my skills more in. So last point I put is like GPA. I put like not really next to it. The reason for that is I would say GPA only matters to like a certain extent. Like obviously in your classes, like make sure you understand what's going on and try to work to the best of your abilities. But don't get like so hyper focused on getting like a perfect GPA or anything. Cause I'm telling you, out of all like the maybe like 30 plus machine learning interviews I've done, not a single one has ever asked me what my GPA was. They all asked me what projects I did and how I did those projects. So if you have two people applying for the position, one guy has a 4.0 GPA, one guy has like a 3.0, but the 3.0 guy has more projects on his resume, the one with more projects is going to get the job at the end of the day. And the last thing I want to add is that the job title doesn't matter much because different companies tend to call machine learning engineers by the same thing. So if you get an opportunity for roles with any of these titles, I would definitely pursue them. Some of them are like AI engineer, ML ops engineer, deep learning engineer, sometimes even software engineer, machine learning, or last on the list, data scientist, which is what I got as my first job to get into machine learning. So don't be so like hyper focused on only like machine learning engineer, because there's a lot of like adjacent job titles that can lead you towards eventually getting a job in machine learning. All right, so that's pretty much everything I had to share from my end. Now, I just want to open it up to you guys for any questions.
Ask away, don't be scared. Any questions? Comments?
You can't see me, but I'm raising my hand. How many positions did you see that didn't require a master's degree?
Okay, what's your name, by the way?
My name's Devin.
Devin? Okay. So that's a good question. Didn't require a master's degree. So are you asking that question because you're deciding if you want to get a master's degree or not?
Oh, I've actually already graduated. I'm the upper guest speaker tonight, but when I was looking for positions, all of them wanted master's degrees.
Yeah, so personally, my take is that experience is greater than education, because like I mentioned in every single interview I've done, no one cared about my GPA or educational background. Everyone just wanted to know about my project experience. So when I was applying, actually, I applied to tons of positions that required master's degrees and PhDs, and I would still get the interview just because I had an impressive project portfolio. So even if you see a position that has like higher years of experience or higher educational requirements than what you have, I would still say like go for it and apply anyways, because like who knows, if you get the interview, then you end up getting a really good position. But if you're like scared to apply because it says you need a master's degree, then you'll never know if you could have got it or not.
Would you
Does that answer your question?
agree in this case?
How many heard you?
Yeah.
Wait, did you hear me?
I didn't hear your question. Did you ask?
Yeah. So would you suggest getting a master's degree in this case?
So I would suggest focus on getting a job first and get the job to pay for the master's degree, because a graduate degree is a lot of money and it's not worth it to go into debt just so you can maybe get a better job down the line. Because even if you get a master's degree, you're still going to have to do the same applications. You're still going to go through the same interview process as everyone else. It doesn't give you like a super high edge over anyone else. So I would say if you're deciding between the two, definitely, I think there is value in a master's degree, but focus on getting the job first. And a lot of companies will pay for the master's degree as well. So then you don't have to spend your own money.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yep.
How,
Speaker.
how relevant is it to get like a second major, maybe in like, like the new data science major that's gonna pop up in Rutgers? Like, how relevant is it in your career as an, or I mean, I don't know, an engineer or data scientist?
Sorry, the question cut out. You think you would repeat a little louder?
Yeah. How relevant do you think it is to get a data science major? If you know there's a new data science major that's going to be added next semester, how relevant is that in being an ML engineer?
Yeah, like I mentioned on the last slide, data science and machine learning are like hand in hand. Like some companies even call like their machine learning engineers data scientists. So I think like if you do have that option, it's definitely worth pursuing.
Thank you.
Any
Anyone?
other comments, concerns? Speak up or
Barbara, hold your feet.
What year did you graduate South Brunswick?
I graduated in 2017.
Oh shit. I was class of 2018.
wow.
We can follow each other.
I feel like he looks familiar. I do not know.
Any other questions for our guest speaker? Okay, in that case, let's give Sid a round of applause for